Leo's Legion, your three down bros, Greg, Arthur, and Roland, here after what I'm going to say is the most disappointing loss by our beloved Lions this season. Same crap, different pile. But I'll tell you what, this loss to me was the season in a bucket or a garbage can. This season is now done. Arthur, what do you think?
It was a tale of two halves. First half was great. The second half was not very good. It's kind of like the BC Lions season. The first half was decent. The second half, it's not been good. So, yeah, I'm with you there. And I would say this: it's 2 years in a row that Hamilton's come into BC Place. And yeah, this game is much closer no to overtime. But last year's game was terrible. Um, Lions have to find a way to rise above adversity and play some better football. Roland, what do you think?
Yeah, I've been saying this the whole weekend. Extremely disappointing results. We are not mathematically out for for the playoffs, but 2 weeks ago we lost being in the driver's seat for first place. Now we've lost being in the driver's seat for second place. We're in third place now. The only way we can get up to second is if the other teams lose. Basically, Saskatchewan loses, right? We do have a game against them, so that's still a possibility. But yeah, extremely disappointing. We did not rise up to what we were capable of. We know talent-wise that we can do a lot better, but either mentally wise or heart wise, we were just lacking, just completely lacking. So extremely disappointing. So if you're joining us tonight, welcome. Glad that you can join us. As usual, please feel free to type in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts. And if you're joining us after the live stream and you're watching this afterwards, please give us your comments as well in the comments. We'd love to see that, and we can interact with you that way as well. So anyway, tonight, let's quickly look at our agenda. This is what we have planned for tonight. We're first going to be talking about what went well. Start with some positives, however little that might be. But there were some positives.
That could be a short list.
Short list, and then we're going to dive into what went wrong. A lot of things went wrong. And then we'll go into what needs to change, and then we'll end off this show with predictions for the Calgary game. So first up, what went well? Okay, who wants to start first? Maybe we'll start with Arthur.
Sure. What went well? No turnovers. They committed no turnovers on offense or on special teams, and Nathan Rourke did enough to. He didn't. Nathan Rourke did not lose us this game. No turnovers, 262 yards passing, couple of rushing touchdowns. So Nathan Rourke did not lose us this game, and we committed no offensive turnovers.
Yeah, awesome.
That's what went well.
Yeah. Okay, awesome, great. Greg, what went well for you?
Well, as obvious as Arthur said at the top of the show, the start went about as well as you could. We had a decent return from Scary Terry. We had a very kind of a mixed bag of run, pass, a little bit of Steinbach, a little bit of Katoy, moved down the field quickly and ended it with a touchdown. Got the crowd into it early. The defense, to me, looked like they were ready. They were aggressive. They were hungry. They were closing on the receivers quickly. They were in the right spots, and they were executing to what I felt was a lot better level than they had in Toronto. Mind you, that level wasn't that high to begin with, but it looked really promising that, okay, we're righting the ship. This is a home win. The team knew exactly what was on the line that night, Friday night football. And the atmosphere at the stadium was great. Being Orange Shirt Day, the crowd was into it. It just looked, the promise was there. The promise and the hunger looked to be there.
Okay.
What about you,
awesome.
Rob?
Yeah, actually, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say that to me, what went well was, the first few drives, first couple drives were scoring drives. First drive ended up with a touchdown. Man, we were zoned in on that first drive, offensive wise, right? We marched down the field, ended up with a touchdown. The defense was clicked in as well. Bo Levi couldn't settle down. He was off. Second drive, we ended up with a field goal. Would have been nice for a touchdown. And then, defense was still okay for the whole first half. Holding Bo Levi, to just a few yards. Like the stats on first half was completely lopsided. I think they only had a couple first downs.
Well, I remember you commenting at the game, like, have they had a first down yet?
Yeah, exactly. And then we saw their first down after that. So that went well. One more thing that went well, the ball that got stuck in the jumbotron. That was this year. Like how many years have we looked at the ball almost hitting that jumbotron? You're saying one of these days it's going to hit it, and then this year we've seen it not once, not twice, but 3 times, and the third time it got stuck there. So one positive thing, if we can say, is that we probably have the world record for the longest hang time, because I don't think the ball has come down yet.
Yeah, got that.
All right. Okay. So now that we've gotten some positives out, let's take a look at what went wrong. Okay. So a lot of things here. So who wants to start? Maybe let's go with Greg first. Greg, your thoughts on what went wrong? I'm sure there's a lot.
The entire second half. I think the team, again, like I said at the top, same crap, different pile. Again, same, not really ready to come out in the second half. I don't know if they took it easy during halftime, thinking they got this in the bag. I really don't know. And I mean, our hands are tied, our heads are foggy. We have no clue what happened in that room at halftime. If the Lions just thought, hey, home and cool, we got it. We've got the number one vaunted passing offense in check. All we got to do is play not to lose. But as we know, in the realm of professional football, especially in the CFL, playing not to lose generally results in a loss, as the Lions proved yet again this season. Calgary's coming out with the ball, and Hamilton is coming out with the ball in the second half. They're going to make some adjustments, because I mean they're fighting for their playoff lives. As Coach Campbell acknowledged going into this game all week during his media presence, everybody's going to be bringing their number one game to BC. Everyone's gunning for a playoff spot. Well, Hamilton's going to come out hungry and adjusted. Why did we not adjust? And if we didn't adjust then, why could we not adjust on the fly in the second half? We looked lost. We looked confused. We looked disinterested at times, and we imploded. You know what? It's the same thing, just different ways.
Yeah.
Arthur?
Well said. Yeah, Arthur.
What went wrong? Well, yeah, just to piggyback on Greg, a lot of things went wrong in the second half for sure.
Yeah, you can be specific if you want. If there's specific
for sure. For sure. So I would say specifically, we lost the war in the trenches on both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line. The secondary started to, because we couldn't get pressure, we couldn't do much on offense. Then the defenses got stuck on the field, and the defense wilted, especially the last 3 offensive drives for Hamilton.
Yeah.
Touchdown. And the one in overtime. So we needed a stop. There were a couple of third downs in there, at least one, and at least a first and 20 in there. Just needed some stops. Hamilton needed all those points.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
and
two
then,
2-point conversions even.
Two
right?
2-point conversions. So there's a lot of things that went wrong, but the one that really and this is more of a comedic relief, is they started the wave. It was 23-11 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And some guys in the end zone tried to do a wave in the dome. And the Lions offense was on the field.
I know. They had the sign come up on the Jumbotron.
And people were like, you can tell, okay, people were trying, maybe it was the Lions fans trying to inject some energy into the Lions team, because it was 16-0, and you can feel, it was like the game was on a pivot. It could have gone either way, and we are at home.
Yeah.
We were losing the game was kind of slipping away, although we were ahead.
Yeah.
We had a firm grasp on the game. It was slipping away. The crowd was trying to inject some energy. And what really went wrong is Campbell said post-game, we didn't seem to have energy in the second half.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're just off a bye and you're at home. There is no excuse to not have energy.
Exactly.
And the crowd is there giving you a wave, trying to inject some energy.
Let's dig deeper in that. Why do you think there was no energy? What like I can't understand it. Why? I mean, they were leading, and our defense did such a great job in getting their Hamilton's offense, off track, and yet we couldn't score any points. Like, we were just getting 2 and outs. Why?
Oh, Greg, we touched on this off air. All right, you take that first. Come on.
Attitude
A team loses energy. They have no physical excuse that they would be tired.
Yeah. As I say, attitude reflects leadership. I have to put that lack of energy, lack of spark, lack of gumption, lack of X factor squarely on the leadership of this team. And that leadership starts, as much as I was able to chat with him in Victoria and see what a nice guy is, nice guys don't win championships. And Coach Campbell, that energy, that spark is strictly on you. And I don't know if you got to go sit down and have a chat with your dad on how to energize a team or what you got to do, but you got 3 games left and you better figure out how to light a fire under this team because, God forbid, I'll leave this thought with Arthur. Maybe something has been lost, and I'm going to leave it at that for my brother Arthur to go with. But Mr. Campbell, you had a one of us chant after the Montreal game when you took off your shirt. Maybe you ought to stay in that dressing room with no shirt on the rest of the season. I don't know. But you have got to get that team ready. You've got to be in their ear, up and down that bench, in the room, out of the room, that whole game. I put the lack of energy square on you and your coordinators, your play calls, everything. Because that getting players ready to play is squarely on the coaching staff.
I mean, I agree with you, Greg. But I also want to say it's the leadership of the team, like the players' leadership, that leadership core on that team.
Yeah.
Now, they're all professional players, right? The coach can only bring you so far. Eventually, the players have to take over that dressing room. Like the leadership of, like the players' leadership, right? They say, hey, coaches, we will internally get us ready. We will internally have the accountability. You missed that tackle. You missed that throw. You missed that catch. You missed that assignment. You're not accountable to the coach. You will be accountable to the coach, but you got to be accountable to each other.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a bit of both, right? I mean, I'm not in the locker room. I have no idea, but they have to be accountable to each other, and they got to hold each other up to a standard. Because if you're always waiting for the coach to come and say something to you, it's already too late. The players has got to keep each other accountable. Because you want to let down a coach, that's one thing. But you're letting down your brothers in this war, and you're in a team, that's another. So maybe they read the news, the press clippings. These are the Lions are the favorite to win this year. Home Grey Cup. They just have to show up.
Those press clippings were at the beginning of the season. I think those press clippings have been thrown into the fireplace.
Very stale now. After a 5-game losing streak.
The litter box at the Pussycat Lions. Let me tell you. Again, you said they're professionals, Arthur, and if you're a professional athlete, you should not be reading the press clippings. They say that in their interviews. Oh no, we don't. We ignore it. We ignore it. Social media, we ignore it. Whatever. And maybe social media plays a part in it, but no, these guys, if they're as professionals they're supposed to be, I hope the press clipping's not a factor, but you could be right there too, but I hope not.
I mean, that's probably more, more valid in the beginning there. Now, obviously, they're in a dogfight. So the last 2 losses, they know, okay, we're in a dogfight just to try to get first in the West.
Yeah.
Now they're in a fight for their life just to get second in the West. So Yeah, I'm thinking the leadership has to leadership. Like I think the players' leadership. I mean, if they have to always be motivated by the coach, then something's wrong with the leadership core of the team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The culture
They
that
have
it's
to
all
step
about?
up. Sorry?
The culture that they're talking about?
Well, you know, the culture is set by like the management and the coaches, alongside with the key leaders from the players. They set that culture, and then they get buy-in from the rest of the team. But it has to be players to players accountability. That's where it has to be for this team to go forward.
Yeah.
Roland, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really good points. I'm going to go back a little bit to what went wrong, and then we'll jump into what they should be doing, because, you know, you're touching on a lot of things on what needs to happen. But what went wrong, man, is so disappointing to see. You know, receivers who are supposed to be like our number one receiver, like Hatcher, you know, not making catches till the fourth quarter. I mean, the fourth quarter he made, you know, a couple of good catches, but he dropped, you know, some catches earlier on. It's just he's just not clicking for whatever reason, and they need to figure that out. I mean, yes, we've got people like McInnes and Eberhardt who are rising up, but they can't do it on their own. Hatcher is our veteran receiver. He needs to be the one who's carrying the load on his shoulders, not McInnes and Eberhardt, right? So, you know, that you know, something's wrong there. And, you know, Hollins wasn't playing, but we know we've talked a lot about him not carrying his load as well, right? So that's one thing that I see really wrong. Our receiving core is upside down. The stars are the people who are supposed to be stars are not operating at the star level for whatever reason. And it's not just the quarterback, because they're not doing it for either Adams or Rourke. Our O-line, especially our O-line is so, we don't have time at all. If you look at, it's night and day. Bo Levi had so much time in you know, when he had the ball, but you know, we didn't have any time at all. He you know, he was rushed, you know, so many plays, right? He would drop back, and yeah, you know, he probably could have gotten the ball out sooner, but you know, Bo Levi had a lot more time. Now, Bo Levi was getting the ball out faster too. So that's another thing. You know, a combination of, you know, 2nd and 4, you know, we talked about this, right? 2nd and 4, it should have just been a bang, bang play, get the first down. You know, he drops back, starts looking around, and the first read is not there. And then he starts looking for his second read or third read, and then he's got guys in his face because the O-line is not protecting. And then he's scrambling. And then, you know, we don't convert. It's a 2 and out. 2nd and 4, we should have converted, but it's a 2 and out. We got a comment here from Tades. Every drive in second quarter, maybe in the third, the drive started at or inside our 20-yard line. Yeah, true. So we couldn't flip the field around, and you know, I know this is Greg's Greg's favorite topic with the returner, but you know, with the talent we have on there, I agree with you, Todd, but with the talent that we have on our offense, we should be able to drive down the field.
They did it in the opening.
Exactly, yeah.
They
And
had those long drives,
yeah,
which basically gave the defense rest, kept the defense fresh with that rotation on the D line. It was that complementary football.
yeah.
You know, if one unit's not playing that well, the return game, based on Todd's comment, at least the offense could drive. And when the offense drives, the defense rested. The defense comes out with a little more intensity, a little more ferocity, a little more hunger. That gives the offense time to get ready to come back out on the field. So somehow after that's at halftime, that complementary synergy was gone.
And it, you know, so true, you know, a good return will definitely help, but a good offensive drive, even if you don't score, but if you get a few first downs and then you punt the ball, you flip the field. But if you go 2 and out, and then the opponent's offense gets a couple first downs, now you're going to be, you know, even if they punt, we're going to be the ones who's stuck near our goal line, right? So you know, first down conversions are so important. You know, an offense, there's no excuse to be stringing 2 and outs. We had so many 2 and outs on this game. Another one, and this was touched on in some of the commentary that we heard, our red zone efficiency.
Oh,
We're in the red zone, and all we can get is field goals. If we can't get touchdowns, and in the beginning, that was good enough because our defense was holding, right? But it caught up to us. Imagine if just one of those field goals was a touchdown. We would have won the game. Right? It was every single opportunity matters. You can't just say, okay, fine, we'll take the field goal. Right? Every single opportunity, when you're in the red zone, you got to be focused. It needs to be a touchdown. And if you don't get it this time, the next time you're in red zone, that better be a touchdown. You got to have that sense of urgency. So a lot of things really got me frustrated.
Well, there was a couple of times too. We had Calgary pinned inside their 20.
Hamilton.
Sorry, Hamilton. I guess I'm looking forward to that next game.
Bo Levi. You like Bo Levi as
Yes.
Calgary, yes.
sorry out there, fans. But no, we had Hamilton inside their 20, and first half we kept them there. They were punting quite a bit, and that guy was somewhat keeping them in the game. That punter, he was unbelievable, by the way.
Yeah.
But second half, how many times were they second and long, second and 8, second and whatever? We were doing better than Toronto because every time Toronto played, they were like second in inches. Well, this game, second and 8, second and long, and they're getting 12. They're getting 15.
Yeah.
They're getting, first and 20. They got
Exactly,
15 back.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to that? I mean, Dave must have found some cracks in RP's game plan. I don't know, but Calgary was able to do those, what we're talking about, long drives in the second half, and just slowly claw their way back into the game. Hamilton. There I go again. Hamilton was able to.
Hopefully, it's on a precursor things.
Oh, I hope not. But honestly, at the rate things are going, well, I'll bring that up later on. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Those long drives absolutely disappeared.
Yeah.
All right, so
And-
go ahead. Finish.
No,
your
no,
thought,
I'm
finish.
just
Okay, good. So
that's
just to answer, I noticed that they're taking the field, around their 20-yard line. I was mentioning to Roland, I said, hey, this is what happens. They're kicking field goals, right? And then Hamilton, Greg, gets it on the 40-yard line, right after the field goals, and then they might get a 2-and-out, but they move it and they kick it. They punt it. We get the ball, whether through a penalty or just a poor return. Their coverage teams are really well, except for 2 key returns by Williams. Then we're stuck in our 20, and we're already up 10-0. Rick Campbell, we're up 10-0 at home. We're in the 20-yard line. We're not turning over the ball. So the offensive play calling goes super conservative.
Yep.
Especially we're near our end zone. So that's another thing where there has to be a tweak. We call for more offensive play call diversity and maybe a little bit more aggression. I know you're up 10-0 at home against a 5-9 team, but they won 3 in a row. Maybe you want to be a little more aggressive. They're playing not to lose. And they didn't turn over the ball, but they didn't play to win.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Arthur, on that. Like, maybe not aggression, because we saw what happened in during that the first 5-game skid. Second and short in our own end, and we're throwing it deep, and it's not working. Maybe not so much aggression as diversity. At least have something more than a preseason offensive game plan inside that conservative. I totally agree. Aggression does not mean always having to go downfield.
Yeah, I mean, like a safe call is I'm doing inside zone run. I mean, Hamilton knows it's coming.
Yep.
Right? So they're going to stack the box. And I noticed they're stacking 7-8 guys in the box. I remember, I would whisper to Roland until getting tired of me whispering, 7 in the box, cover 3, cover 2. I'm calling out the defensive play because this game I was trying to see what is the opposing defense doing, and how if our receivers are getting open. So a lot of the times I don't know what happened in the pocket because I'm just checking the receivers. I'm checking what the Hamilton defense was doing pre-snap and what they're doing post-snap, and why our receivers are not getting open.
Yeah.
And they just weren't getting open. Like, they were not. I mean, they were throwing, like, Nathan would have to throw into a very tight window, and it's probably unadvised because they're trying to not throw interceptions. So there is just no explosiveness. I think, we talked about the receivers. So, but yeah, near your own end zone, you're gonna be conservative. You're gonna make them beat you, and guess what? Hamilton was able to beat you. So all credit to them. Bo Levi, 29 for 30 in the second half, unbelievable. Should have been 30 for 30. That guy just totally dropped the ball. But they still end up scoring later on. But what a half! And hats off to Bo Levi Mitchell. What a performance! Like, he was on, and I'm like, wow, those throws were on the money, and their receivers, except for one drop, made all the receptions. So hats off to him.
Okay, let's. I wanna move it on. We're gonna talk about what needs to change. And actually, I'm gonna kick this off with a question. So, Campbell said it's Rourke until the end of the season. He announced that last week. But this game, Rourke just couldn't settle down. It's not 100% his fault. The old line was not helping a lot. Should we start Vern Adams against Calgary? Okay, so your thoughts. And for those joining us online, let us know your thoughts too. Should we start Vern Adams against Calgary? Let's go with Greg first, I guess.
Definitely. What, you've got nothing to lose now other than third place. You've got nothing to lose other than, well, I've already said the season is lost. So yeah, I would give VA the start. He plays well against Calgary. He proved that in the Western semi last year. He proved that in his first game. And I'm saying Calgary, get it right. He proved it in his first game here when the Lions brought him in when Rourke was injured. He went in, and I believe
that was 2 years ago. But this year he won. He won in Calgary.
And he hurdled over guys, and let's be honest, he's got to be fresh. Mentally fresh, physically fresh, and maybe we just need a different personality in that huddle right now. Nathan and Vernon, they're both great guys in the quarterback room, ultimate professionals, I'm sure, from what everybody says. But I think maybe we just need the yes sir back in that huddle. Because I think, like Roland, you've been saying, we've got the physical skills, right? Or they're not on this team. If you can't catch, pass, block, we won't get into the tackling, but offensively, all those receivers can catch, but most of them have been working with VA preseason and then the beginning of the season. I say give him a shot. Arthur, I know I owe you a beer for Nate coming back, but what do you think?
Yeah, Arthur. Actually, before Arthur answers, I'm going to post a follow-up question, then Arthur can fill that in. When VA came in to relieve Nate on the second half of their previous game, he wasn't able to really get things done too, right? Okay, so what do you think? Should we play VA next game against Calgary or stick with Rourke?
I'm conflicted. I'm probably the biggest VA fan and Rourke fan among us three. Honestly, when he came in, there was some doubt among the bros for Vernon Adams. 4-2, big win in McMahon, right, Greg? And then the start of the next year. Honestly, since Nate's been back, he's been playing between a C to an A- level. He's just been, but it's not good enough. Not winning games.
Yeah.
He's not 2022 Nate, and maybe it's too much to expect him to be there. It is. He needs a training camp. He digested 4 NFL offenses in his brain. He
Yep.
needs to probably decompress out of that. And the NFL is a different game, different angles. CFL is a wider field. He's got, like I'm sure,
Throwing mechanics were changed,
throwing
for sure.
mechanics. So if I was a head coach and being a massive Nathan Rourke fan and VA fan, I would go with Vernon Adams to start the next game. And the reason why is, it's not really nothing to lose. Is I think Roland has been talking about this a lot. Is VA's been the leader of this team in the last year and a half. He is their inspirational leader. He is their emotional leader.
Yeah.
And people and just in the last 2 years, when he goes down for injury, like the team it's a changed team. So like I think last year when he went down for an injury for those games, and Dane Evans came in, you can tell like the Lions were like, oh boy, there was a drop in energy, and it's undeniable that VA is a great leader and a great man. And you know what? This guy is a pretty good quarterback as well, right? It's not like we are bringing in a scrub, right? This guy is on a pace for an MVP.
Yeah, that's not
right?
pretty good.
Yeah.
He was the best QB
Yeah.
up till,
Yeah, until he got injured. So with that in mind, I would start him just because we lack energy in the fourth quarter. We're lacking something. And Nate is not at that level where he should be and can be. So I would say your best 3-4 players in the Lions, 2 of them are quarterbacks. Like, Peters, Betts, the 2 quarterbacks. Those are your best players in the Lions. So if Nate can't get you an elite quarterback performance, we're being out-quarterbacked the last 2 weeks. Chad Kelly came in and completely out-quarterbacked us. And Bo Levi Mitchell in the second just completely out-quarterbacked us.
Yes.
It's not Nate's reason. It's not his fault we lost. He didn't lose us the game, but he didn't win us the game. He played that so we wouldn't lose. And it's maybe the play calling. It's probably the play calling, not necessarily him. He made some mistakes. He needed some receiver to step up. But bottom line is Bo Levi Mitchell was able to do it. On the road, down by all these points. And we needed an X factor, right?
Yeah.
And Nate got us close. Like in the end of the regulation, he got us close. And I was like screaming, he's got to have to run it in. And he's going to have to do something, right? Because you can't just check down to Berryhill and then it's like 3rd and 2. You're like, it's pretty much a tie game. It's pretty much a game over. We know the defense can't stop Hamilton.
Yeah.
So, long-winded answer, yes, I'd go with Nate. I'd go with Vernon Adams for the start. 1 game, see what happens. Vernon Adams plays well against Calgary. That's who I go for.
All right.
So,
Yeah. I completely agree too. I mean, continuing on what Arthur said about VA's leadership. Arthur, you're the one who mentioned you mentioned to me that you saw on the sidelines on the fourth quarter when our offense was struggling, you saw VA going up and down. And
that was Greg. Greg was
Greg.
noticing
Okay,
that.
when
Yeah.
Greg noticed that, he was going up and down and just firing up our players. Right. I mean, that's leadership. He could have been saying, "Coach, let me in there. Let me in. I can do this." But no, he's not doing that. He's firing up the players and supporting them. I mean, that is a true leader. And I think
Or
the
he could
players,
be brooding at the other end of the bench. Just see, should have kept me. But no, not him. Not Vernon.
and the players see that, right? The players see that. And I've mentioned this. I've seen in a few games where I felt that the players, gave an extra 10%. So from 100 to 110% because of VA. And maybe that's the X factor that you're talking about, Arthur. I mentioned this to you guys, but wouldn't it be ironic? Wouldn't it be ironic?
Boy.
And maybe a bit of poetic justice.
Son. Yeah.
If
Poetic
we
justice. Oh boy.
if we put VA in and he wins all the games from Calgary onwards. And
Is that
if
including
He
the
runs
playoff
the
games?
he
yeah,
runs the
he runs the
table.
table, yeah, and he wins the Grey Cup.
Oh,
What's going to happen if VA goes in and he wins every single game, Grey Cup, he wins the Grey Cup for sure. He'll be MOP, even without all the yards because he was on track for MOP, right? So if he gets us to the Grey Cup, so we win the Western Final, and we get to the Grey Cup, I have a feeling he will be MOP, right? Because they make that decision the Grey Cup week right before the game.
we're talking regular season MOP.
Yeah,
Is it that
Yeah,
late?
yeah.
I think
Well,
so.
He's
Yeah.
if he has 3 400-yard games and 3 massive wins with his 5 earlier wins, and he only played like less than 2/3 of the year, but his stats are like, if he's a passing leader and he played like 60% of the games.
Well, I mean, even if he
Yeah.
doesn't have the highest stats, but he was on track. And
Well, I
then,
mean, yeah, but it doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't need to have the highest stats, but like
Yeah.
he's gonna be close. But then he's played so few games, but he's got the nice win-loss record,
yeah,
and then the lines were kind of spiraling. He comes in like the story's there, right?
Yeah,
Roy, I'm with you.
story's
The
there.
story's there. If he can get 3 massive games and 3 massive wins, he's in the MOP conversation.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly if it was MVP for most valuable, because then that has value to this team. Outstanding. The league, the writers and all those guys being what they are, I can see them giving it to somebody else who I'm not going to say the name here because I can't stand that name, can't stand the team that name plays on. But I'm
Brady
saying,
Oliveira.
thank you, Arthur. Because I mean, as he started going,
Yeah.
so did the Bombers' fortune turn
Oh,
around too.
yeah.
He's been playing a little bit longer. He's got a lot more to gauge on. Vernon, I have a feeling because he had that miss in the beginning, these writers, the media guys that vote on this, may be fickle enough to kind of forget it. I would love to see it. But if you got the Grey Cup, if he wins the Grey Cup and got Grey Cup MVP, to me that would be, if he didn't get League MOP but got Grey Cup and Grey Cup MVP, to me that would be just as much poetic justice, like Roland said. But boy, that would spark some interesting debate, interesting conversation.
So follow-up question: if that okay, these are hypothetical, of course, but
I don't know. I kind of like the talk.
I know it's a lot.
Coming in and running the table and us winning the
I know,
Grey Cup.
it's a lot.
I'm sure Mr. Dolman, if he's listening, would love that to happen.
Yeah. So if that happens, VA wins us the Grey Cup. We can't keep both VA and Nate. What do you do, Arthur? If you were Lions management, and if this was the scenario?
Okay. Nathan Rourke is 26 years old as of May. So at the start of next year, he will be closing on 27. Like, just turned 27. Vernon Adams Jr. will be 32 years old at the beginning of January. So it's a 5-year gap. And just quickly, you guys show me on your fingers, how many good years does VA have left? He's 32 years old. How many good years?
Well, how old is Bo Levi? Bo Levi is quite a bit older.
34.
And you saw how he played last night.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, I'm asking you, how many good years does VA have left? If he wins MOP,
Just that one question.
sorry, I just need your hand. I need to see your hand. How many
fingers?
good years
I have
does
one
VA
question,
have
though.
left?
I have
Huh?
one question.
What?
Behind the current offensive line that we've got, how many good years does he have left?
Yeah, because then that's what's going to be, right? I mean, there's going to be maybe a couple of 2, right?
It-
All right.
Most, at absolute most.
Oh, let that fire going. That's those zoom. All right, Roland. How many good years?
Well, okay. So how old is he? He's 31.
He'll turn 32 in January.
And Bo Levi is how old?
34.
34. So there's 2 years there. So at least 2. Zach, how old is Zach?
36.
Okay. So that's 4 years to get to Zach's age, right?
Yeah.
So
That's why I asked about the line.
Yeah, let's split the difference. Well, I don't think they're going to keep the line together. So we're talking about next year, right?
So I just want to know how many good years VA has left, and you're going 3.
I'm splitting the difference at least 3. Could be more, but let's say
right.
3.
So for me is Nate would have 5, 6, 7 years, good years left. If I'm the general manager, I'm 100% going with Nathan Rourke. I'm the general manager, right? If I'm the head coach, I'm head coach is year by year, right? Year by year, 2 years by 2 years.
What have you done for me lately? Yes, absolutely.
I'm still going Nathan Rourke. I'm still going
Oh,
Nathan
that
Rourke.
was like that.
It's
That took a
close. It's
little
close.
bit. That took a little bit.
I'm a huge VA fan. I'm a
Yes, you
huge
are.
VA fan.
Yes, you are.
And it's close. And it's just birth certificate. It's marketing. Like I'm the GM, marketing counts. Someone
It's dollars
younger.
as well as results,
Yeah.
right? It's dollars as well as results.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it as a coach, it's really close. I mean, but he's just come in mid-season. He needs a training camp. Let's be fair. He needs a training camp to get back in the swing of things. And he didn't have the receivers or the health of the receivers that VA had at the beginning of the year. So that's why I'm going Nathan Rourke.
Yeah.
It's
But
it's a tough call for me in that scenario,
Yeah.
but the 5-year age gap makes a big difference.
But I got to remind you, in the scenario that we're talking about,
Yeah.
it's the same set of receivers. So VA runs the table from here to the Grey Cup. It's the same set of receivers
Oh,
that,
for sure,
that Nate
for
was
sure.
struggling with.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in that scenario. All right. Greg, what are your thoughts? So if you just joined us online, we're doing a hypothetical. The hypothetical is if we switch our QB to Vern Adams from the Calgary game onwards, and for a miracle, he runs the table and wins every single game, gets us to the Grey Cup, wins the Grey Cup. At the end of the season, we've got 2 star quarterbacks. We can't hang on to both of them. Who do we keep? Who do we let go? That's the hypothetical. Okay, Greg, what do you do?
Are there any online callers or comments that want to slide in?
You're looking,
Dave would bring in Dave Dickinson as a quarterback.
you're looking for help. You're calling for help.
Okay. With all due respect, we talk about Vernon's leadership. Look what he did in the last 2 preseasons. He brings those receivers on his dime to his neck of the woods, and he works with them. Builds that relationship, develops that X factor that you don't get with repetitions at team practice. He did things with them outside of football. He did all these activities. It was on Arrow Up. They broke bread together. They played games. They brothered together, those guys. And look at what happened to start, last year and the start of this year. It was, the results were awesome. But he's also on a wonky knee, the same knee he hurt last year. That, thank gosh we had Dane Evans. But that same knee gets tweaked this year. Okay, no Dane Evans, but oh my goodness, they airlift Nathan Rourke in, which, because my goodness, no offense, Jake, but if we had to go with Jake the rest of the year, that would have been bad. So there's the knee, and there's the birth certificate, and that. And I'm just looking at my phone here because if Vernon Adams Sr. is listening, I don't know how much more I want to say here, but the knee, the birth certificate, and we've been asking the Lions, the fans, the whole province has been asking the Lions to do something with that O-line, and if they don't, my 2 maybe be pushing it. I would have to, again, revenue streams. Mr. Doman's putting money out to get this team relevant, to get this team noticed. I would have to side with Arthur, and I would have to go with the higher potential, which is the lower birth certificate, which is Nate.
All right. Okay. So I'm.
Oh, here goes my hang on.
I hear what you two are saying, but in this hypothetical, Vern just pulled off a miracle, right? We were 3rd place. We're 3rd place, and in this hypothetical, he wins every single game. He comes in with a weak O-line, with a receiving core that's not clicking, and he pulls a miracle. Not just gets us to the Grey Cup, but wins the Grey Cup. So in this hypothetical, I think in that scenario, you got to go with a hot hand. You can't. I understand all the potential with Nate and all that, but it's a potential. But here's a proven. You've got a proven versus a potential. Yes, Nate played really well 2 years ago, but he couldn't replicate it this year. Why? We don't know, right? I mean,
Might have
maybe.
figured him out, like Arthur.
Yeah,
We were talking earlier
exactly.
today. He might have figured him out.
Yeah, you could be right. Maybe a training camp would get him back there, but we don't know, right? We don't know. Maybe it's people haven't figured out. Maybe the game has changed and he's not adjusting well. So there's no guarantee that he'll get back to that level.
No guarantee.
So I would actually, it's a hypothetical, right? It hasn't happened. If it happens, I would be the happiest man on earth, because I really think it would be poetic justice given what Vern Adams has gone through. He got, the short end of the stick, right? And if this were to happen, I would be very happy for him.
No, he's earned it too with his character and his integrity and the way he's been as a teammate. He would earn this miracle. I mean, it's well deserved. Sorry, not
It would be
earned.
well deserved.
Deserve it. Deserve it. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you would say, going into 2025, if this miracle somehow happens,
I would keep Vern.
you would hitch your wagon to Vernon Adams for however many years he's got left,
Yes.
and
trade
Nathan
Nate
Rourke.
and get some quality players. Beef up our own line. We're going to get a lot for Nate. I mean, we're going to get a lot for either one, right? So we're in a good position.
In this scenario, you're going to get a king's ransom for either quarterback.
Yeah.
And so then, as a GM, if that guy goes on to have a 2022, if he's Nathan Rourke 2022 2.0, is that right? 2022 2.0?
Yes.
You're willing to live with the fact that you just traded that away, and you're gonna, if the owner says you're okay to justify that trade.
Yeah. I mean, I got a proven commodity. Because the other way could happen, right? We trade Nate away, or we keep Nate, and then he doesn't get back to the 2022 level, and VA is doing well in whatever team we send him to, right? So,
would you go talk to Mr. Doman as the GM hypothetically before you make that trade?
You better.
Because man, I wouldn't have the cojones to do that. Unless I go, Mr. Doman, we need to have a chat.
Yeah. Yeah, this would be my strong recommendation, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, Mr. Doman.
Okay, good. Okay, so then, you're a brave man, Roland.
All right.
So we got two Nates and one VA. Should this miracle happen? Well, let's hope that miracle happens starting against Calgary. I can say Calgary now, right?
Yes, you can. I would love to be in that scenario where they won the Grey Cup with VA as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's Grey Cup MVP.
Yeah, and I'd feel awesome for Vernon Adams Jr. Just awesome for what he had to endure, and this is totally his team. Yeah, remember when Nate got signed, I said he's coming in to be Vernon Adams' backup. That was my thought for this year, is when Vernon Adams is back and ready to go, Vernon will take back the team.
Yeah, and I think Nate was of that mentality. I mean, based on his initial press conference, I believe.
Well, he didn't say I'm here to be I'm here to be Vernon's backup. He wasn't saying I'm here to be the starter. I'm just here to supplement the quarterback room. Right? He was being very the
PC answer. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't being but obvious. Okay, but the Lions management have never wavered on their love for Nathan Rourke. Throughout this whole ordeal in the NFL, they never wavered. He was a starter here. They brought in Vernon Adams when Nate went down. They've always favored Nathan Rourke for a good reason. 2022 year was a really good year. So I cannot see any reason why they're going to go they're not going to go long term with Nathan Rourke, but short term, we'll see.
Yeah, Q-Man says VA's chance to take back team was last week. He shit the bed.
That's not unfair. He didn't have any first team reps.
Yeah,
he came off how many weeks off? 4 or 5 weeks, and then he came in. The team was playing terrible in front of him, right? And then he goes in cold. It was tough. And the O-line was being turnstiled, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's, I mean, this hypothetical is a miracle, right? Because the way the whole team is playing right now, it takes more than just a quarterback change, right? So, for this to happen, the whole team has to shift their mindset, reignite that fire. And, I'm saying I think that VA has a better chance of doing that, of achieving that because of his leadership. That he has a better chance of igniting that fire and motivating the team, right?
I agree with you 100%, Roland. He has a better chance of that. Whether he's definitely 100%.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. I mean, it's a hypothetical. We wish this would happen, but it's we know that in terms of high probability plays, low probability. This is a low probability play. We dug ourselves a big hole this season, so this hole, it's a really big hole to get out of. So let's grave. Let's move on to the last. So let's not look beyond Calgary, like we always say. Let's look to the next game. What do we need to do for Calgary and predictions? So if you're online, let us know what your thoughts as well. But let's start with Arthur, I guess. What do we need to do for Calgary and your predictions?
Oh, we need to score early. We need to play 4 quarters, right?
Yeah. We scored early, but we didn't play 4 quarters this week.
We need to be responsible with the ball. Calgary is just trying to pull us down to their level, right? And I think they need to get some fire. They need to play for each other. And I think they are playing hard. Maybe not smart, but then when things go against them, they kind of unravel a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think Lions will win. It's at home against Calgary. I cannot fathom a loss to Calgary at home, what it would do to this football team. I just cannot fathom that would happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
It very easily could happen now with the record.
The way things are going, easily.
Yeah. But it would be anything would be on the table if a loss to Calgary would happen. So I think that this is the time that rubber meets the road. I think they're gonna do real well. I think the Lions will do well. They will do a 13 point victory over Calgary.
10-13 spread, you mean?
Yeah, the spread. So it'll be like 33 to 20. 33 to 20.
33-20. Okay, Todd says 38-19.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Todd's prediction.
They better blow them out.
Yeah.
More, and I don't want to squeak her like a walk-off field goal. Although I would take the win, they need to come and then show everyone, and show and prove it to themselves more than anyone else.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Prove to themselves that they are a quality football team. I know a win's a win, and it's a tough year, but they got to prove to themselves and show everyone that they're mean business.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
33-20.
Okay,
BC
33-20. All right. Okay, let's go with Greg.
What we need to do against Calgary, predictions. We need. Man, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Calgary already had it. It was in the media. They had a row between players in the dressing room. Things got ugly. Things got physical. Things got verbal because they hit that frustration boiling point. I hope that happened in our locker room. I hope players called other players out, and I hope they took each other to task, and are holding each other accountable, which I think is what we need to do against Calgary. Each and every one of these players has to hold each other accountable within their unit and across to the other units. We have got to play not only complementary football, but supplementary football. If something doesn't go well with the offense, if they, for whatever reason, do a 2-and-out, then it's up to special teams to change the mood. I don't care if they block the kick. They got to just do something to stem the unraveling. And then if they do enough, then the defense has to feed off that. and then hopefully that will transition to the offense, and they can do something. But they've got to feed off each other, um, and that hopefully, and then the offense execution will then trickle down to the defensive efforts. Whatever, they've all got to do everything possible to fire up the next unit coming on after them, and they have to have offensive variety when they're in shotgun. No more 5, 6, 7, 8 step drops from the shotgun. Take the step, get rid of the ball. I don't care what McSimic has to do. Get routes, a 2 yard slant, whatever. Just let your guys get the ball quickly so they're not running around back there. And then if you're going to hand it off to William, give him a running start. We saw what happens when he hits that line at full tilt. Get your quarterback under center, hand it off old school, and let him just do the William stand back thing. Giving it to him out of shotgun and he's flat footed and that pocket's already collapsing, that's pretty tough. But hey, Mr. Standback, you're also getting paid to do what you got to do, the tough stuff. So I think that's what they've got to play supplementary and complementary football, all 3 units. They've got to have offensive variety. And again, that same hunger the defense had at the beginning of last week for 4 quarters. And, maybe they need to win an ugly one because a blowout might give them that false sense of confidence again. They might need to just win a knockdown, drag them out. Let's say a 26-17 win. Lions.
All right. Okay. I agree with what you said about Standback. He needs to be more involved. He did really well in the first few drives, and then we got away from him. So
Which is not his fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's not his fault. We saw what he did in Montreal. I mean, Montreal, he had a chip on his shoulder, but we saw what he can do. So I'd like to see him be used in all 4 quarters. That'll really help our passing game too. And he needs to run. We need to have calls where he doesn't just run up the middle. It's a mixture, right? He runs up the middle. He runs on the outside to keep the defense off balance. So we need to do that. We need to, as a team, take advantage of every single opportunity. No matter how small the opportunity is, we got to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
We can't just be given an opportunity. The defense gives us an interception and we do nothing.
No, go backwards.
Yeah, you can't do that. We get to the red zone. You gotta give it 110% to get a touchdown. Don't just say, okay, field goal's good enough. Like every single opportunity, we gotta take it. If there's a questionable play that might turn the tide, gotta throw the flag, Mr. Campbell. Can't be so conservative, and hold on to the challenge, right? You gotta show your team that you're in it as well, right? That you're also willing to take the risks.
Yep.
So
that's 110%. If he throws a flag, that's going the extra.
Yeah, like it can flip the field either way, right? Either it's a big play for us, or it negates a big play for them, right? So, it's a change on mindset and a change in the mindset, a change in the attitude. That's what I want to see, right? To me, it starts with the offense. We've got our highest paid players in the offense. We've got if we stack the skill wise, our offense is stacked. So it needs to start with the offense. Our defense and our special teams can feed off that. So our offense needs to not just start strong, but it needs to dominate. So I hear what you're saying, Greg, that sometimes a dominating win might do the opposite thing. But if we're able to change our mindset, then even if we win a dominating win, I think they need to understand, okay, we're not done yet. This is just a game, and we need to put in more for the next game. So my prediction, I think if what I say comes out well, our offense will get a lot of points. So I'd say 36 to, and then our defense will feed off that, and I'll say 12, 36-12.
Good old fashioned. Okay,
take it.
Yeah. So that's
rolling.
Yeah.
We're due for that. I think they lost the last 3 games at home, right?
Hamilton, Toronto, and Winnipeg. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
And there's a bye come, rested too. So
Yeah. All
because
right.
you guys are both calling over 30 point, over the mid 30 mark.
Well, Virgin Adams playing the starting quarterback, right? Isn't that right?
Hope so. Well,
That's
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 fine.
He's
that's
going to get
that's
400
that's,
yards.
that's what we're
He's gonna
calling
get,
for. That's what we're
he's going to
calling
get
for.
400 yards. We called MOP. He's going to get 400-yard games, 3 wins.
Question to you guys: when was the last time you saw a reverse or a jet sweep or something out of the ordinary out of our offense?
We did
Hamilton
the
burned
flea
us with
flicker,
it
right?
twice. Once on a 2 point convert, which they kind of, I think they Philly specialed that one as well. I mean, we got burned on those end arounds,
Yeah.
those reverse. I don't know how many times. When was the last time we tried one of those?
Not
Last year?
not a reverse, but we do it a flea flicker earlier.
We did a flea flicker.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Greg, why would they need to? They got 2 really good quarterbacks. They got receivers, and they got a brilliant offensive mind as an OC. They can out-execute any scheme in the league. So why would you need to do gimmick plays when you can out-execute
My
any
brother,
scheme?
my brother, as much as I love you, were you not listening to that guy to my, I don't know what this thing, the guy to our producer changed the mindset. And I think it's in
I
that
am
mindset.
saying I am being facetious.
yes,
You know I'm being
yes, he is, yeah.
facetious.
But yeah, they I don't know. Like I said, offensive, they got to do something that's not so predictable because I mean, you don't think Calgary's been studying all the film of the
Yeah.
defenses that have shut the Lions, the mighty high vaunted high, you know,
They're the
offense has become a
They're the
pop
ones
gun
who
offense at the most.
architected
Oh,
how to
that's true.
stop
Yes, the
VA.
1 point loss. Yes.
Yeah, they the one who like rush 3, hang Judge back as spy.
Yeah.
As the pocket breaks down, he rushes in, and contains VA. They drop 8 into coverage, covering what 4 or 5 receivers.
Yeah. Well, maybe we got to start moving the pocket or something. We got to do something that breaks that defensive design down. McSimic, I don't know. Get your head out your wherever it is that out execute you might, like I said, Roland, listen to Roland, change your mindset, figure something out. Like this is, I mean, I love being able to talk about it. Like when they're bad, it gives us more to talk about on the podcast, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
They're stubborn, they're arrogant, whatever it is in that coach's room ain't getting it done. And I don't know. It's just frustrating to watch it not get done.
Yeah. All right.
And VA deserves a little bit more to go into that. If he is starting, which we're calling it here on 3 Down Bros, he is starting. He needs to go in there with a little more arrows in the quiver than they've been given either of these quarterbacks in the second half of this season.
Well, I mean, like Stanback will have a massive game for his boy VA. Like Stanback's like he says, "All right, VA, load me up, right? Like I'm gonna get this win. Me and you, let's go, right? Because they're all buds, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and Stanback's played well with Fournette, but I think Stanback will really want to play well for Vernon.
Yeah.
Well, do you think he was factored out of the game towards it? Because I mean, he was being used as blocking help because Katoy was kind of on the limp,
Potentially.
and you needed Stanback in there because you got no Mackey. So then you've just basically relegated his out of the backfield or a check down.
Potentially, I mean,
Possibly,
yeah, for sure. But then if they're rushing 4, and that the play is sometimes you bleed out,
Yeah.
right? And then you get open, and then there you have 2 check down options, right? Versus a typical hot receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, they said with Stanback, if we can get to 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4, we can definitely have a running option, which they seem to not try.
All right. It's 9:35, so let's. I think we've hit our we've passed our 1 hour mark. Let's hope that that we see a big change, because if we don't see a change, then I think what Greg said at the beginning is that the season is gone. Right. We desperately need a big change in the mindset, in the attitude, in the intensity that our team plays. But I think it can be done. It can be done. So I'm hopeful, and that's why my prediction is optimistic, right?
Season's not done in a 9-team league. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm calling it. The season's
And
done.
they hold the
was
tiebreak against Hamilton in the crossover.
If they continue to play at this level, they ain't going anywhere. And Mr. Doman's
Well,
gonna
I
lose
mean,
a
at
heck
least
of a
they'll
lot
make
of
the
money.
playoffs.
I really don't think so. Even at this rate, I don't think they cross over.
I mean,
No, 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 no.
Hamilton crosses over here.
No,
No,
no.
I don't think they get by a crossover team.
yeah, we gotta.
No, no, no.
yeah.
They have to beat Hamilton so Hamilton doesn't cross over and take their spot.
Oh well, I don't think. Yeah, well, no, I really don't think. I'm going to call it out. They're not making the playoffs unless VA runs the table. But we'll see.
Oh,
He's got to start.
boy.
Like I said, I that was what I thought of that the season's done.
Yeah. Well, it's not impossible. We can one game at a time. We win this game, and then let's see where it goes. We're no longer in control of our destiny, so we just got to win every single game. Yeah. All right. Thanks for hanging with us. Love to have chatted with you today, guys, online. If you're joining us after the fact, please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. If you're in the game this Friday against Calgary, come check us out. Section 246. We'd love to chat with you, maybe take a selfie. Otherwise, catch us again next Sunday at 8:30. Okay, take care, guys. Have a good night. Go Lions.
Go Lions.
Yes, sir.